Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. Sunday night, Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. Massive playoff implications here. Texans are 7-5, Chiefs are 6-6. The Chiefs are favored though by 3.5, over under just 41.5 on FanDuel.
I think we've reached the point now. Kansas City, this is do or die. Like, they actually need this game to basically stay alive. Not entirely, it's still mathematically possible, but realistically, for all intents and purposes, this game is their season. If, according to NFL.com, if they win, they only get back to a coin flip to make the playoffs. They get to 48% even if they win this game. They're currently at 34%. So they're currently 1-3, effectively, chance to make the playoffs. If they lose, their playoff probability drops all the way to 11%. So this is basically, if they don't win this game, the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending AFC champion and consecutive, however many million straight they've been in the championship game, they're done.
This is down to 11% if they lose. I think Timo has similar numbers.
Yeah.
He's got them closer to 60% if they win.
Ooh.
And a little, but 12, 13% if they lose.
Right.
Because what Kansas City has left, they've got two what should be gimmies against the Raiders and the Titans. So say you add 2 wins to their total there. And then their other 2 games, Chargers and Broncos. And the Broncos, I know Broncos fans were joking, like, what if Christmas night, week 17, we've got this thing locked up and we're just sitting our starters against Kansas City. We don't care. It's probably not going to happen because New England is, they're right there. Who knows? But I'm assuming Denver's going to try to play and win that game on Christmas night, which is a challenge. It's in Kansas City. One scheduling quirk, by the way, that's in Kansas City's favor, because we have a 17-game schedule now. Every team, it's not like 8-8 home and away games.
Right.
You're going to have 9. They have 9 true home games this year and only 7 true road games because one of their road games was in Brazil against the Chargers. So in this season where the Chiefs are sitting here at 6-6, they actually have this scheduling advantage where one of their 8 road games was actually a neutral site game, so you don't really have that effect. And so they're actually in this pretty good spot, I would say, where it's Denver coming to Kansas City, it's the Chargers coming to Kansas City, and then their 2 easy games, so to speak, are on the road, Raiders and Titans. So those are the 4 games they have after this game. 2 big ones in Arrowhead, two games where they're going to be 10-point favorites on the road. And that's why it's so much on this game. In Arrowhead again, but against a hot Texans team.
The overall point, I think, though, is basically just the margin for error is nothing. I mean, Timo also has an interesting data point where he's put out the playoff chances at given win totals for teams, right? Kansas City right now is at 6 wins, right? So if they only win 3 games down the stretch, 3 out of 5, he puts them at a 5% chance of making the playoffs. So basically no shot.
So 4-1 or better.
If they win 5 games, if they win out from this point on, he has them at 98% chance of making the playoffs. So if they win out, they're still good. If they win 4 of the 5, if they go 4-1 down this stretch, they're only at 55%. So basically, if Kansas City wants to, effectively guarantee that they will still be in this playoff run, they need to win out. If they drop this game, they're in real trouble.
Oh, this is it, man. This is season on the line.
It really is. Like, this has got to be one of the most crazy, high leverage, individual, random not mid-season, but like late to mid-season. We're not in week 18, you know what I mean? There have been games that obviously determine are you in or out in week 18. This is like week 14, and this is kind of an in or out game for the Chiefs.
On Sunday Night Football. It's going to be great. So, and we'll talk about the Texans side of this in a second. The other part for Kansas City here is Josh Simmons, rookie left tackle, broken wrist, was it? He's on IR, so he's out. Jawan Taylor, the right tackle, left the game on Thanksgiving. They could be sitting there. Jalen Moore is a backup tackle. They signed him to be the starter, but we're probably looking at Jalen Moore at right tackle and Wanye Morris at left tackle.
Which, by the way,
Wanye's really struggled.
Sounds crazy. Mitchell Schwartz was making this point. Like, I would love to hear their rationale for making Jalen Moore flip sides, having been playing him at left tackle while Josh Simmons was away. Why are they flipping that now? That doesn't seem sensible at all.
I don't know. Wanye's been the swing. He's played more as a swing tackle each of the last 2 years. He's filled in on both sides. Jalen Moore has played left tackle for the Niners last year and this year for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and look, I mean, he may have become the swing tackle when Josh Simmons won the left tackle job, but you've already had him out there playing at left tackle, and you now need both starting tackles. It just seems crazy to me to make him be the one that swaps sides. Like, you have to be crazy confident that Wanya Morris is so much better on the left side than the right side, just naturally.
Unless it's a Will Anderson thing, and you're going to see more Will Anderson going up against right tackle.
Like the opposite side is Donnell Hunter. I mean,
I know.
She pick your poison.
So that's the other piece of this storyline here. We know a lot of the, say, poor Mahomes games we've seen through the years, a couple Super Bowls and everything. It's when the offensive line got absolutely wrecked or had backups in there, and now they're going up against this Texans defense that has the two fierce edge rushers in Will Anderson and Donnell Hunter. They could also rush the passer up the middle. They do a nice job, sprinkling in the blitz. So a lot of pressure, perhaps, on Mahomes. Underlying metrics for the Chiefs, again, I don't think they're a far cry off from where they were last year. And, they're losing all the one-score games this year. They won all of them last year. I think part of the differences are the defense over these last few weeks. I thought they were outstanding down the stretch against the Colts. They couldn't make a stop against Dallas. Weeks 9 through 13, 33rd team, research team here, 50% third down conversion rate against Kansas City's defense. And that's last in the league. So over these last few weeks, when they've played Denver, the Colts, they gave up a few, and against Dallas last week, when they're trying to get off the field, get Kansas City's offense back on the field, they've been unable to. Again, they did it great against the Colts down the stretch, but the first half of that game wasn't great either. So can Houston, now on the other side, this defense, and think about how many times we woke up on a Monday morning and we're like asking the teams that played against the Texans, we're like, man, they've got some problems offensively, right? They're one of those defenses that has you rethinking life offensively the next day. Can they do that to Kansas City? Because they're one of the best in the league at marrying the pass rush, the coverage unit with Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter on the outside. It's going to be quite a matchup. Yeah,
it's just a brutal week for Kansas City to be down your pair of starting offensive tackles and have to run up against those pass rushers. That it would have been a really interesting game with both those starting tackles out there, going up against this pass rush and how Mahomes would handle it. I mean, a do-or-die game going up against this defense without your two tackles is a brutal assignment for Kansas City. I mean, that to me, it's like, have they got any shot of getting this working?
I think they do, because Rashee Rice is going to play in the slot.
Yeah.
You can kind of hide him from Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter. I think that's an advantage. As the Texans are great on the outside. They're pretty good in the middle of the field as far as linebackers and Jalen Petrie in the slot. I know we've got these games in our head where Kansas City, their offensive line gets whooped, but they also have plenty of games where they take really good pass rushes and they put those guys in a blender with screen game, with misdirection. And I think we're going to see playoff Chiefs as far as the game plan. Keep an eye on this. If you see a speed option early in the game, Sam, that they've got the playoff game plan. For some reason, Andy Reid likes to start with a little quick speed option.
Speed option in the playoffs.
Early on the early script. If you see a little speed option, we're just going to get Mahomes, put a little indecision into the edges and pitch it out to the running back. A little speed option early on to set the tone for the Chiefs. They have it. So I'm expecting all their best, right? The fake sprint outs, double sprint outs, play action, full screen game. Kelsey, right? There's a play in the playoffs last year where Kelsey's wide open over the middle of the field. And that's the thing about the Texans defense, right? The reason why a team like the Texans or the Broncos are so good defensively, it's not that they're perfect down to down. It's that they're so good rushing the passer and so good in coverage, but they still have coverage busts. The Texans the last 2 years have had a ton of coverage busts. But because the pressure gets home and the quarterback's rushed, they're not always taken advantage of. So I think that's what this game comes down to. Like, there'll be some opportunities in the middle of the field, and if the rush gets home, it saves them. If Mahomes can see it, either avoid pressure, make one or two of those plays, I think that's the difference on that side of the ball.
I mean, he's been doing it all season long, but this is going to require a freaky Patrick Mahomes game of avoiding sacks. Like, he's going to have to do some witchcraft in the pocket, getting away from those edge rushers, scrambling for positive gains, just avoiding those negative plays. I think it's a really tough assignment for this Chiefs offense.
Other side of the ball, you've got C.J. Stroud, one game back from his concussion. I thought he played pretty well last week against the Colts. They're running the ball a little bit better. Another research stat here, since week 5, the Texans are one of those teams using 6 offensive linemen. They're number 1 now, 33% on normal down and distance. So they're going to try to maybe play a little bit bigger against Kansas City. I don't know if that's the best way to go here. Again, I think Kansas City's run defense is a little hit or miss, and against good run games, they might struggle. I don't know if the Texans have the run game to sit there and, get 3 and get 5 and get 6 and slow the game down. I think Stroud's going to have to make some plays.
Yeah.
And the emergence of Jaden Higgins and Nico Collins, the teams that have beaten up on the Chiefs defense the last couple of weeks have done it with their outside receivers. Cortland Sutton making plays and George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb making plays. I think those outside receivers have to make plays against Spags' defense here.
And how does Spagnuolo come after this offensive line? Like, this is a line with a very clear weakness. I mean, it is a line that is a very clear weakness. Elite defensive lines, elite pass rushes have been able to cause Houston all kinds of issues. And I think that undermines or causes the entire offense to disintegrate. On the top of that, if Stroud has a halfway decent offensive line in front of him, I think he's still a really good quarterback, and that receiving core is great. If he doesn't, if Kansas City can, take that foundation stone away, then they've got a real shot. But this Chiefs pass rush hasn't been as dominant this year as it's been in the past. Like, they need to show up. Like, this is, again, playoff football time. Chris Jones needs to put on, the big boy pants, go out there and just wreck shop and destroy that offensive line.
The one matchup that I'm interested in, if anything changes, Derek Stingley never travels to the slot. He's almost always exclusively left cornerback. I don't think he's even been, nobody's even throwing his way. That's Kansas City's offense doesn't need to feed their outside receivers to work, right? I think Rashee Rice has been the guy.
Yeah.
Those crossing routes when Mahomes has needed to play these last few weeks, and you see Mahomes' production bumping up as Rice has gotten into the lineup these last few weeks. I wonder if this is a game to play man. The Chiefs splits too against man coverage versus zone. They are far better against zone than against man. Do you do what the Bills have been wanting to do these last couple of years and say, this is our season. This is the way you have to slow down the Chiefs. We're going to man up. It's not necessarily what we do. Put Stingley on Rice, follow him around, take him out, and go ahead, beat us with Kelsey. Go ahead, beat us with Xavier. Make Xavier Worthy play a full game, a clean, outside the numbers. I'm interested to see if they do it because it's not in their nature. Just like it's not in the Bills' nature, but they were willing to do it in a big game.
And it's also, this year more than previous seasons, it's dangerous because, like, Rashee Rice is clearly their number one target and the guy you want to take away. But the two guys you're going to be leaving isolated on outside coverage with one-on-one outside coverage with guys that are your number 2, 3, and 4 corners are devastating speed guys. That's always terrifying for a team. Like, Tyquan Thornton, is he a particularly good wide receiver relative to the rest of the NFL? No. Has he already shown that he can put up an 80-yard touchdown, if you give him space? Yes. And this is the problem. Like, you could dedicate Derek Stingley to Rashee Rice and potentially take him out of the lineup, but every single one of those plays is now blink and you're over with Tyquan Thornton and Xavier Worthy. And Mahomes, I mean, the efficiency hasn't been good on those deep shots, but he's definitely shown willingness to attack this year down the field.
All right, last thing. We saw this matchup twice down the stretch last year, both in Kansas City. So another game in Kansas City. We saw it in Week 16, that Saturday game. Stroud had 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, only sacked twice in that game, and then in the playoffs, then was when it was really falling apart. 8 times he got sacked. Stroud was making throws, but they had a lot of those negative plays against this Spags defense. I think it's going to come down. Like if Stroud has a game where he only gets sacked once or twice, makes a couple of those downfield throws, which he's absolutely capable of, I think the Texans have a shot here. If Spags gets back to blitzing and creating havoc against this Texans offensive line, And Woody Marks, by the way, the number of times that Woody Marks was stepping up against the blitz last week against the Colts, might have to do that 8 or 10 times in this game. I mean, I really think it might come down to a few plays on that side of the ball to give the Texans a chance here. They're 7-5. They're hot. Kansas City, biggest non-Week 18 playoff leverage game of the Mahomes era. It's going to be awesome Sunday night.
Yeah. I think one difference potentially, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but one difference is potentially those tackles both being missing with Kansas City. I know they were missing, like, certainly in the playoffs, that was Joe Thuney playing left tackle at that point. So it's not like they were fully healthy then, but they at least had one on the right side.
All right, man. Chiefs by 3.5. Sunday night, over under 41.5. Where are you going to go with it?
I'm going to go with Houston covering that number even if they're not winning.
Oh, man, so much of me is saying Houston. Just like I was saying Dallas earlier, and I went with Dallas. Something about Kansas City with their back against the wall, though, that I don't want to pick against.
Do or die time. It's a playoff game for Kansas City.
I hate that. I mean, if it was
we know
3,
playoff Chiefs.
I mean, if it was 2.5 or something, I'd definitely take Kansas City. I'll take them anyway, though. Take the Chiefs by 3.5.
Okay.
Harry's going to take Houston.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.